So I'm really pleased to be doing this next part of the Chief Exec shout out down by the pond, which many of you will know is at the back of the Postgraduate Medical Centre. So there probably isn't a more fitting place to have a conversation with my next guest for this month's Chief Exec shout out. And UHP is really committed to the contributions we can make to wider society. And I'm really pleased to be welcoming Kirsty Wavish, who is our Green Plan Programme Manager. And she's here to tell us all about the work that she's doing to reduce our impact on the environment, to reduce carbon emissions, and most of all, the contributions we can make to a more sustainable planet. So Kirsty, a really, really warm welcome, and what a great place to be doing this conversation. So Kirsty, we agreed our Green Plan back in 2020 and quite a lot's happened since then.
Yes.
But tell me some of the things that we've done already.
Okay, so one of the key things that my role is to do is to roll out a staff behaviours engagement programme to try to encourage staff to become more sustainable. So we launched our Choosing Greener programme back at the beginning of February, which has so far been really successful. It's a pledge and reward scheme to encourage our staff to become more sustainable, develop more sustainable habits and change their behaviours and what they do in their day-to-day lives. It can be anything from energy, turning off lights, turning off equipment when they're not in use, to looking at single-use plastics, not using single-use bottles, opting for reusables instead, and starting to look at how we're looking at our organisation as well in terms of waste. In departments, having a look to see where you see waste and it frustrates you, what can we do to change that? So we've now developed many avenues for staff to get involved. So back in October 2021, we started our new governance programme for the sustainable, for the Green Plan. And out of that, we had 4 working groups. We've got the Sustainable Futures Group, we've got the Sustainable Behaviours Group, the Sustainable Environment Group, and the Sustainable Plymouth Group. Now, the Behaviour Group is really, really key for the organisation because that will really help to for staff to understand how they can change their behaviours in order to become more sustainable. Like I said, in terms of single-use plastics, turning off equipment, looking after our environment, looking after our green spaces. We have a wonderful site at Derriford. We have so many different aspects that are there to enjoy. It's embracing it, looking after it, not spoiling it, respecting it, and also enhancing it. What can we do to improve what we've got, etc. So, part of the Green Plan as well is that we have our draft biodiversity plan, which will look at increasing our biodiversity on site. So that will be habitats, green areas, really sort of making our environment really healthy and a wonderful place for us to be in.
That sounds fantastic and so comprehensive, and I think really what you're saying is there's lots of resources, and if you're sat there feeling, well, I don't know where to start, or I can't really make much of a difference, the message is you absolutely can make a difference just by making some small changes. And I'm sure on our staff network site there's lots of information that you can access to make your contribution, and presumably if you want to get involved, because this is a subject and an area that is dear to many people's hearts and so important for our, not just today, but for our futures as well. Now, we've got a green plan, we've got our groups, we've got lots of activities going on. What sort of goals are you setting? How will we know whether we're being ambitious enough? And what sort of things are we trying to achieve, and by when?
So in our Green Plan, we're looking at reducing our carbon emissions by 25% by 2025. So a lot of these initiatives that we've got in place will really, really go towards that. Some people may feel like some of their actions are quite small, but when we do them on a large scale, they actually become really quantitative. That will go a huge way in order for us to achieve our net zero targets. At the moment, we're looking at striving to be net zero by 2030. That's a huge, huge target for us to achieve, and we will need all staff to contribute in order for us to achieve that. One of the other initiatives that we've got in place is the Green Champions Network. And my idea is that we will have a green champion in every single area of the hospital. They will be our eyes and ears on the ground. They will be able to report back to us about the wastage that they see in the system, improvements that they can see, and also projects. Quite often people in their own expertise come across projects that are going on elsewhere and ones that they want to bring to the hospital. That can sometimes give them the opportunity to bring them to us, and we can then support them in order to achieve that.
That's fantastic, and it sounds really, really encouraging that we've got so much in place. So all we need now is both the trust and individuals to make those little changes and to support what we're doing. And as a trust board, we always now look at the sustainability impact of the decisions that we're making. And again, early steps, but all in the right direction. So is there anything else you would like to say to people who are watching this Chief Exec shout out about sustainability and what they can do to make a difference?
Yeah, so we have a huge amount of resource now on our sustainability page on StaffNet. If you want to start including sustainability in your team meetings, there's a toolkit on there which really lays out quite simply some things that you can start looking at. That will be a bit of a working document, because as we progress through our sustainability journey, that will be updated. So that will be constantly giving more information to our staff in order to make more changes within their department to become more sustainable. Signing up for the Choosing Greener programme is an absolute brilliant one to do, because it gives you an introduction on what carbon means, what it actually means for the trust, and what measures that they can do in order to change that, reduce their carbon footprint going forward. There's some wonderful activities that you can get involved in. Even going for a walk, you can take a picture and post it on the app, and then people can then see, the kind of things that you've been doing, engaging with nature, but also in showing what you've been doing in terms of recycling as well. Reducing what you're using, what you're recycling. That's a really, really great initiative to sign up to. And then if you have the time to be able to do it, think about becoming a green champion. All the details again are on StaffNet. Drop me a line if you want to know a bit more information. It's as little or as much as you want to give, but just having somebody there that's acting as a green champion within that department will really help us to drive this forward.
That is fantastic. Kirsty, thank you so much. And I'm sure everyone will be really motivated by what you've described. And I hope that we can start to showcase through the Chief Exec shout-outs some of the great team efforts that undoubtedly will take place to improve our sustainability. Thank you very much. Thank you.